Hi, it's Alaska Granny. I took another chance. I went online to Walmart and I placed a grocery order late at night to pick up first thing in the morning, thinking I can outsmart them. I'll be able to get everything that's on my list because the store is no longer open. No one is shopping in the store. They're stockpiling things away, so anything that I can put in my cart ought to still be there first thing in the morning. Well, it didn't work out that way, which was still disappointing. And of course, some of the things that I really wanted were the items that were out of stock. I had ordered some of the Augason Farms dehydrated stew vegetables, freeze-dried vegetables that can last for 25 years. And of course, they didn't have any of those. I was very excited they were in my cart, but then they didn't end up in my order coming home. Another challenge that I've realized is that I'll go online and I'll be picking things to put in the cart, and then when I go hit the checkout, a whole bunch of the things will say out of stock, and so I just close the page and I don't go back. And then the next time I go and I open up the page, those things are in my cart, and then I go and I pick some more things. And so things that ended up had been out and then all of a sudden they were in stock. So I did end up with a surprising amount of pasta noodles, which I didn't realize that I ordered quite so many. But that's okay. It's a food that's going to last for 30 years. You can always make pasta last. You just put it away in a cool, dark, dry, airtight container. It doesn't go stale if you store it airtight, and so it's going to be a food that we can continue to eat, which we'd like to eat pasta anyway. They still had limits of things you could buy, like fruits and vegetables, so I only ended up with a few cans of fruit and a few cans of vegetables. I only ended up with pears, beans, and corn, and I was only allowed to have 6 cans each. So that's a disappointment when you realize I could have a mountain of pasta. It would be nice to have something to go with that, wouldn't it? I also bought some ravioli. It was cheaper to buy them in the 4-packs than to buy them individually. Just because a food comes in a can doesn't mean that's the only way that you can eat it. If it's a food that you like, you can still turn it into variety by trying different things that you put with it. They had limits on the canned beans. I was able to get pinto beans and some ranch beans, plus some refried beans, but the disappointment with the refried beans is some of them were dented, and so I'm not going to accept dented cans anymore, I decided. If they can't make it out of the store without being damaged, I don't want to have to put them away and count on that the food is not compromised inside. So I decided it's just not worth the risk anymore to accept dented cans. So they're set aside to go back. The varieties of soup were extremely limited, and when you look at some of them, they're choices I don't ever want to eat anyway. So I end up getting the pub style chicken pot pie soup, which I like a lot. I was able to get 12 cans of that. Progresso chicken pot pie. Progresso has 2 kinds of vegetable soups, and I was able to get 12 cans of one but only 6 cans of the other. And the difference is vegetable soup has noodles in it, and the garden vegetable has beans. So don't be afraid to try both of them if that's the only selections you have. They are a little bit different, and I like to combine them with other foods to make casseroles or big stew soup type meals and other things. So these are a good way to add a base to a meal rather than just them being a meal. I was able to get 12 cans of the Hereford roast beef with gravy, but almost all of them were dented. And so that is a big waste to me. I'm not going to spend $5 for a can of roast beef and then have to eat them right away because they're dented. This is for emergencies, it's for long-term food storage. I don't want to feel like I must eat this right away when I have foods in my freezer that I'd rather eat. So out of the 12 cans of roast beef, 9 of them are dented. These are all the dented cans that I'm going to return. That's something whenever you bring food in, especially if you didn't choose it yourself, look it over and make sure nothing is compromised. You don't want to spend your food storage dollars on foods that aren't going to last. I was able to get 12 cans, little cans of chicken, and these are great because you can add them into so many different things, soups, stews, casseroles, and it's pretty tasty. And yes, anytime you can get rice and beans, get some. and they allowed me to put 5 bags in my cart. It didn't seem like that much when I was adding it on the click list until I went to pick it up and I actually had 100 pounds of rice, but it was only $55. So that's a huge amount of food to have on hand for not very much money, and it's food that will last for up to 30 years if you store it properly. I also got 2 bags of the pinto beans, and surprise, I actually was able to get 2 sets of the large jars. So some of this rice and beans is going straight into these large canning jars and get put away. I also got a bunch of the Knorr pasta sides because these are easy to make. They last for a long time. I've been storing them in buckets, and what I realized when I got a bucket out recently and I opened the lid, I had different varieties in the bucket. Even though they're still sealed in the package, when I opened the bucket, it was an aroma of mixed variety, which didn't smell all that good. So what I plan to do with these is I've ordered some Mylar bags that have a zip top, and they're supposed to be odor free, that they're scent locking bags, that they seal in all of the scents, even if you just use the zipper seal on the Mylar bag. But then you can also still go ahead and add an oxygen absorber, and you can seal them up if you want to. So all of these pasta sides are going to go into Mylar bags. It's going to help them last longer, stay fresher, and not worry about the aroma contaminating each other if they're a different variety. Then I'll be able to put them away just with the flavors, the same flavors in the same container, same package. I haven't seen pastaroni at all in a long time, so I was able to get 6 each of 2 different varieties. And what I do with the pastaroni is I take it out of the box. There's hardly any food in the box, and the box takes up a huge amount of room. I put it all into a sandwich-sized Ziploc bag, and I store about 3 of them together in a canning jar. And I just put the lid on. Then if I want to make one, I can just open the jar, pull out a bag, seal the jar back up, and use this food. And that takes up way less space and helps it last for many years. I've stored some of them probably 8 or 10 years that way, and I've never had them not good to eat anymore. They've always been just fine. A few items I couldn't have. I wanted some mixed vegetables. I wanted more vegetables. I wanted some frozen vegetables. They were out of all the frozen vegetables that I wanted, and I couldn't get any other variety of canned fruit. I found that very surprising that they didn't have varieties of canned fruit and frozen vegetables. So not only was I limited what I could purchase in canned fruit, I was limited what I could get in frozen vegetables, and I was denied dehydrated vegetables. So I'm thinking I need to make sure that I'm checking on fruits and vegetables, because there's no way anything's growing in my garden here for several more months. So you need to make sure that you have the things that you need in the variety that you need, and you can plan your meals going forward. It was -9 degrees. Who didn't want to go to Walmart? And so that's what I did early this morning. If you enjoyed my video, I hope you'll share it with someone else you think might like it. Please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.